After a string of faithful and unfaithful kings, is there final hope for the people of Judah? Is there final hope for the whole world? Let's begin in 2 Chronicles 36. How long was Josiah's son Joahaz king of Judah? Who was Jehoiakim? Then the people of the land took Joahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in place of his father in Jerusalem. Joahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. Then the king of Egypt deposed him in Jerusalem, and imposed a fine on the land of 100 talents of silver, and 1 talent of gold. The king of Egypt made Joahaz's brother Eliakim king over Judah and Jerusalem, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. But Necho took his brother Joahaz and brought him to Egypt. What happened to Jehoiakim, and who succeeded him as king of Judah? Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord his God. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, attacked him and bound him with bronze shackles to take him to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also took to Babylon articles from the temple of the Lord and put them in his temple there. The other events of Jehoiakim's reign, the detestable things he did, and all that was found against him, are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiakim, his son, succeeded him as king. What happened to Jehoiakim, and who succeeded him as king of Judah? Jehoiakim was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months and 10 days, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. At the turn of the year, King Nebuchadnezzar summoned him and took him to Babylon, with the costly articles from the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah, Jehoiakim's brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem. What happened to Zedekiah, and how corrupt did he become? Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. But Zedekiah did what was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and he refused to humble himself when the prophet Jeremiah spoke to him directly from the Lord. He also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, even though he had taken an oath of loyalty in God's name. Zedekiah was a hard and stubborn man, refusing to turn to the Lord, the God of Israel. Likewise, all the leaders of the priests and the people became more and more unfaithful. They followed all the pagan practices of the surrounding nations, desecrating the temple of the Lord that had been consecrated in Jerusalem. Did God warn his people through many different prophets? Did they listen? Yahweh, the God of their fathers, sent to them by his messengers, rising up early and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God, despised his words, and scoffed at his prophets, until Yahweh's wrath arose against his people, until there was no remedy. How long did God punish this rebellious and unrepentant nation? So God brought the Babylonian king against them. The king killed their young men with the sword in their temple's sanctuary, and showed no pity for young men or for virgins, for the old or for the feeble. God handed all of them over to him. Then the king hauled everyone off to Babylon, every item from God's temple, both large and small, including the treasures of the Lord's temple and those of the king and his officials. Next, the Babylonians burned God's temple down, demolished the walls of Jerusalem, and set fire to all its palaces, destroying everything of value. Finally, he exiled to Babylon anyone who survived the killing, so that they could be his slaves and the slaves of his children, until Persia came to power. This is how the Lord's word spoken by Jeremiah was carried out. The land finally enjoyed its Sabbath rest. For as long as it lay empty, it rested, until 70 years were completed. What's the final word in Chronicles about? Is it a message of hope for Judah? In the first year that Cyrus was king of Persia, the Lord had Cyrus send a message to all parts of his kingdom. This happened just as Jeremiah, the Lord's prophet, had promised. The message said, "I'm King Cyrus of Persia. The Lord God of heaven has made me the ruler of every nation on earth. He's also chosen me to build a temple for him in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. The Lord God will watch over any of his people who want to go back to Judah." Is there a final message of hope for the whole world? Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away." After a string of faithful and unfaithful kings, is there final hope for the people of Judah? Is there final hope for the whole world? You decide.